everybody, and welcome to Moto2's fourth round of 2023, the Spanish Grand Prix at the Circuit de Jerez Anglo-Nieto. So far this season, we've had some up and down racing. Will the Spanish Grand Prix be any different? Sam Lowe starts on pole position though, with Jake Dixon third, meaning a British front row with its riders. Let's take a look at what happened in the 21-lap Spanish Grand Prix. It's the Moto2 Spanish Grand Prix here at Jerez, and here is the starting grid. It is Sam Lowe's on pole position for Great Britain. Pedro Acosta is second. Jake Dixon for Great Britain lines up in third. Alonso Lopez is fourth. Ayagura fifth. Barry Bolter sixth. Then Vietti seventh. Roberts eighth. Arenas and Almarino in the top 10. Chancho and Canat takes us to 12th. 13th on the grid for Philip Salek. Fermin Ayagura is 14th. Then Boben Schneider as well. Gonzalez and Van der Golsberg and Garcia in 18th position. 19th for Alcoba. 20th for Tuvalok. 21st Jordan Kelly. Gomez, Ramirez and Foggia round out to 24th position. Dalla Porta, Cavaro and Skinner to 27th. And then Senna, Auguris and Moto2 in 29th position. The Reds are getting ready as well, as we hear from BT Sports. They are getting ready for the formation lap to head off on their way for 21 laps. The warm-up lap is go. Track temperature, that's at 33 degrees. Air temperature 25, 59% humidity as well. Second afternoon for BT Sports. Gavin Owen and Michael Laverty.
Greasy over at 40. So is that a good or a bad thing for the riders?
Well, depends a lot on the rider in question. It is... I would imagine for the likes of Aaron Canna, who was super fast in practice. Oh, that's
Lorenzo Dalla Porta.
Dalla Porta's not got going.
Yeah, unfortunately, he had a tip-off yesterday in qualifying. No more than warm-up this morning. A second lap to the grid, and it looks like there's been some kind of a mechanical issue with his machine. So he may just have stalled it, but yeah, that looks a little...
And Boben Schneider starting the warm-up lap from the pit lane, by the way. That's just some information we've got going here from race control. So Ben Schneider will be starting this race in the pit lane as we look at Philip Salek, 21 years old, as well, from the Czech Republic on the board as well. Sam Lowe's on pole position, though, on the Elfmark VDS Racing team. Pole again from Sam. Everybody looking and just thinking, is it possible? Are we going to see a Brit victory as well? And is it going to come from Sam Lowe's? That's the one that we all want to know, and that's the one that we all are hopeful for as well. Sam Lowe's, interesting enough, just looking at him on the board here, last victory, well, in Moto2, it came at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in 2021. So it's been a long time as well. His first one, of course, came in Qatar 21. Can Sam Lowe's take a win here? Or can Jake Dixon take a victory as well in the 96? Never had a win here in Moto2 before. Started British Grand Prix 17 in Moto2. And then, of course, he made 2 starts in MotoGP back in 2021. That's going to be the real clincher as well as they come up to the grid.
MotoGP, who had some success again in Moto3. We just seen a Q1 graduate, so middle of the second row, Ayagura. He came through Q1 yesterday.
I like the sound of that on his, as I say, comeback from injury.
Yeah, and we just saw Ben Schneider going to start this race from the pit lane then. 21 laps ahead of us for the Moto2 Grand Prix of Spain. Sam Lowe's will be on the left-hand side of the track, the right-hand side of your pictures. In the dead centre, Pietro Acosta. Jake Dixon on the left of the picture, right of the track. He'll have the inside line into turn 1. All eyes to the lights for the fourth round of the Moto2 World Championship. Away we go. It's a good start from Sam Lowe's. Jake Dixon's going to get swamped. Pedro Acosta in the second phase of the start, though, gets his front wheel down first and into turn 1. Coming up, though, is Alonso Lopez to take second. Sam Lowe's goes down, gets the cut back. Lowe's going to tear and take it. We've got a yellow flag in the first sector, so not sure if we'll have to have a red flag or so. But Sam Lowe's keeps second second position. Jake Dixon battling over 4th place now as well. He still hasn't managed to fix that as they come out of turn 2 and 3. Running wild as they come back up. Oh, a little bit of a touch further back. So Acosta, Lopez, Lonzo. Then we get Acosta, Lopez. And then we get Alberino, Agora, Dixon's dropped down to 6th place. So that's another 3 places. How long until Dixon gets back up towards the front as we see the 14 of Tony Alberino, the teammate to Sam Lowe's, running in 4th, trying to get ahead of Lopez, not working out there as well. Agura as well. Yeah, look at that. Agura moving up the field as well. Costa still leading the way as they come through. The 19 trying to look for a little move on the inside as well in the middle of the pack. As Joe Roberts goes through, no jump starters as Ben Schneider started. Up the inside goes Alberino on Lopez at turn 9, Anglo Nito. Lopez gets the cut back on him as well. Sam Lowe's is right up behind Pedro Acosta. Lowe's trying to look to the inside at turn 12, gets it cut back. Can he have a look on the inside of the hairpin at turn 13? He's thinking about it as he come up to the part of the track now. Out of Ferrari, Lowe's to the inside. Can he lead the opening lap? Gets a trail break. Costa has to sit up a little bit, gets the cut back. Lowe's shuts the door. Yes, Sam! Nicely done. Sam Lowe's takes the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix and across the line with the Union Jack ahead of him as well into the braking zone at turn 1. Alberino gets through on Lopez for 3rd place as well. Joel's back a bit. Lopez comes back and takes it into turn 2. The Lion Bar-esque livery of the Elf bikes looking absolutely fantastic as well. The Elf Mark VDS is running 1st and 4th now as Lopez stays up into 3rd position as well. Salak's up 7 places. Alberino's up 6 and where he started. Great start for him. Sam Lowe's, though, more impressively keeping the lead of the race. He likes Jerez. He likes this track. We'll see if we can hold it together. Had a crash here, of course, I think 2 years ago as well that put him out of contention for winning, but Sam does like Jerez. We said it before. Alberino can't get through on Lopez. Meantime, further back, Salak's past Dixon. So Dixon's now down into 7th position as well. So he's just having the start from absolute hell as they come back up as well. Top 4 are on the inside. Alberino dives through on the inside of Lopez and he's got him. Coming out turn 7, goes too wide though. Does Alberino? Lopez swings back. Acosta in 2nd position, trying to get up with Sam Lowe's, not working. Right, let's regroup here. Big one into the barrier there. And we're not sure who that is just yet. It's crashed down the top of the hill. It's a big one at turn number 10. It is Vietti, Cestino Vietti. I thought it might have been one of them on the 13 bike. Has hit the wall hard. Coming out now, has he popped the air fence? Is that going to bring out a red flag? If he's popped the air fence that surrounds this track, it was a heavy hit. Well, let's hope Cestino Vietti's okay. It goes down at turn 10. That's the Prigini corner as well. So that's brought out the yellows. No sign of a red as Lowe's holds back. In fact, yellows are in. That's great to see. Let's hope Vietti is okay. I think it flashed up with rider okay on my monitor up here in the commentary box. Alberino trying to get through on Lopez. They're closing together. Yeah, there's Vietti walking away. That's fantastic news to see Cestino Vietti for Fanatic Racing moving away. Let's take another look at it. So he's going to drop it on entry. The bike hits the air fence, and Vietti does too with a heavy hit. Looking at the bike doesn't hit him, and the air fence not popping as well, which is great news. 1:41.597 then for Costa. Getting close to the best race lap record of Sam Lowe's last year. That was a 1:41.757 last year. So that's coming down very close as they come through. Tony Alberino, 0.2 behind is the 79. That's Iagura who is coming up. Ivan Guevara is down in 26th position now behind Rory Skinner. So let's go over to BT and see what they're saying about this race start.
3, and on the rear, you had a 0 and a 1, and everyone's opted for the 0, which is the softer option. So it doesn't seem like anyone's thinking the 1 might come to play at the end of the race. So yeah, it looks like the Dunlops are holding up well.
Alberino's getting past the inside line by Agura, and he's going to drag Salak with him too. So Alberino drops down into 6th position across the control line. Uphill towards Expo 92. Can Alberino get through back on Salak? Yes, he can. Slips it through. Live championship as it stands. Acosta on 74 points. Alberino on 72. Cannon on 50. Lopez 45. So by Lowe's being in front, it brings the title down to just 2 points between the pair. Then that's even better between Acosta and Alberino after the opening stages of this 2023 Moto2 World Championship. Acosta going to have an attack. 141.516 for him. Sam Lowe's 141.313. So there is pushing between them. There is time between them as well. And everybody just wants this to be sort of, okay, you go through, you take your opportunity and you go on the attack. Lowe's leads. Acosta, Lopez, Agura, Alberino, Salak, Canet, Dixon, Arenas as well. And that's in 10th position. Femin Ayagura as well. Garcia passing Boltus. And Vietti has rejoined the race. And must be just come back to the pit lane. There's no way he'll be able to circulate. He's lost 3 laps in total. But Vietti apparently has rejoined the race. Philip Salak as well is 1 second behind as well. So that is to Alberino. Well, he's a lot closer than that. I'm looking at it, so I don't know who they're on about there. Could be on about Jake Dixon, who's dropped down into 8th position right now, behind Canat as well. But now we're in the Moto2 stage where everything quiets down a little bit, and we all just have to take stock of the race and accept that it might not be a barnstormer, but there is tactical positions that we have to take a look at. Uphill towards turn 1 again. That's Acosta running very deep indeed. He's lost a few tenths of a second. The gap was 2, it's now 4. So Acosta making a slight error there into turn 1 as they swing back through. Lopez, Acosta, then it's Lowe's, Acosta, Lopez. So this is what you used to calling Sam at the front. There is Vietti back in the pit lane, so he had rejoined the race just to bring him back to the pits, as I thought he might do. The bike looked too badly damaged to continue racing, so he's brought it back into pit lane. 17 laps to go then of the Moto2 Grand Prix.
Lowe's leading. The gap between himself and Pedro Costa just under half a second. You can see there. There it is, lap 2 at 41.322. That's the fastest lap of the race. But every single lap quicker than Acosta, which is why the gap just hanging over 4 tenths from Sam Lowe's. Remember, he's been in position to win races. Hasn't won one since San Marino back in 2021, when he won 3 races, of course, that year. Finished 4th in the championship.
I was just thinking that, when was the last time we seen Sam take command of a race like this? And it's interesting, it's back in 2021, so he did like the upgrades he's received over the winter from Kalex. Felt it give him a little bit more feeling of the front tyre, more understanding of the grip, and you can lean on it. Oh, a little bit of a moment there for Aaron Canet through turn 12. That is a fast right-hander. You do not want the front twitching on you, but he held on well, lost the outside foot peg. But yeah, Sam's he's happy on the bike at the minute, and he did say as soon as he gets back to Europe, things will start to fall into place for him. It didn't quite click despite having great pace in the early rounds.
So Lowe's leading by 5 tenths of a second to Acosta, and they've pulled out a 1.8 second gap to Lopez and Agura 3rd and 4th. Alberino in P5 as they take the accelerator out of turn 3 into 4, and then Cito Pons at turn 5, a tight inside manoeuvre just to slip through on the inside. Extremely close between the pair of them right now, but it's a lot of fun here at the moment, a lot of excitement from what we're expecting the normal Moto2 races to be. As up the inside, that's Alberino going for a move on Agura, gets the rear stepped out. Agura goes around the outside, gets his front wheel nearly touched on the inside line, but good stuff there from Alberino as he's back up into 4th position. Now Acosta and him are level on World Championship points, 74 each, with Canat 23 back and Lopez 29 back. So this is a very exciting prospect to the championship. If they finish 2nd and 4th in this result, they will be level on World Championship points going into the next championship event in 2 weeks' time, which is the French Grand Prix at Le Mans, the 1000th event for MotoGP, where we will be live, fingers crossed for everything, if we get the permission. Exit the last couple of corners. Can't not be for the 1000th weekend, can we, for MotoGP? It's going to be a very exciting weekend as they close in here. A little bit tight. Segura closing on Arbolino for 4th and 5th position. Lowe's now extending the gap. It's now 6/10 of a second as they swing back through. And 15 to go. Lap 7 of 21. Nearly there in this race.
Of that chasing pack,
1/3
the
down.
fastest. He's down in 10th, however.
Yeah, obviously 42.0 for Sumcat, his personal best last time around, but some work to do from there. So he's had a good speed all weekend, but yeah, teammate Ayagura had a good qualifying second row of the grid and then a decent start, and he's in here. So hopefully he holds up fitness-wise towards the end of the race and the wrist doesn't give him too many problems.
Right on board. Looking at the rear of Ayagura with Aaron Canet in 6th place, looking at the Japanese rider, runner-up in the championship last year. Let's not forget, Canet still searching for first Grand Prix victory. High up on the curbs through turn 7. And then further back, you just saw Salach and then Jake Dixon, who perhaps we did expect not necessarily to have podium pace. And again, Jake, at the end of a race, generally has a little bit of tyre.
Yeah, obviously we knew that it wasn't quite there for Jake so far this weekend, but as he said himself on the grid, it doesn't always go to plan, so I was hoping that the not to plan was that he was all of a sudden in podium contention. But yeah, wishful thinking this weekend, it's not to be when your setup isn't quite there, so settle for solid points. You know he will come forward. He always maintains a good pace in the later laps of the race.
I love watching Ayagura hard on the brakes at that final corner. Remember last year, he's sideways going in and it just works for him, whatever he's doing. The gap at the front opening up again, Michael, another 3/10 on that lap. I mean, 14 laps to go, now he's crossed the line. Put yourself in Sam Lowe's seat. You haven't won a race since the end of 2021. It's not been the start to the season after missing big chunks of 2022, having that big run of races without scoring. Put yourself in his seat. You've got Pedro Acosta behind you. What are you thinking?
You're trying not to think, you just want to focus on your braking points, watch your pit board. He'd be confident because he'll be watching his lap timer, seeing the gap on the pit board go up a few tenths of a second and knowing it's Pedro Acosta he's gapping. So that'll fill him with confidence. Just focus on maintaining his pace all the way to the end of the race. Sam's done it so many times in his career where he has controlled a race from the front, so he's no stranger to it. Yes, he's had a little bit of a lean spell last year, an injury. Ayagura up the inside of Arbolino.
That was Arbolino running wide, wasn't it? And Agura taking full advantage.
Yeah, nicely done on the inside there as well. So Agura gets through back into 4th position. Arbolino down to 5th, and now he's going to try and find a way through, surely. Coming back through turn 9 and 10 of the Anglo Nito and Curva Proquini corner. Well, I don't think they're going to make too much there. Lowe's is 1 second ahead of Acosta at the moment. Now Acosta's 2.3 seconds ahead of Lopez, who is 1.3 seconds ahead of Agura. So the usual Moto2 thing happening here, where the field begins to get spread out as well. We are 1/3 through this race. There is lap 8 of 21. There is 14 laps to go of this. So 7, 14, 21 as they come back through. And the entire racing angle begins to extend as we run up towards turn number 1. Lowe's in control of the Spanish. We're going to get a flag. Sector 4, who has crashed out with 13 laps to go. Someone's just dropped off the bottom of our timing monitor there. That's really annoying as well. I think it's Sean Dillon Kelly. It is indeed Sean Dillon Kelly at turn 12 as well. So that's coming out of Curva Ferrari. That's a big one there then, if he's flown off. Rider okay, according to our timings monitor. There he is. That's great to see he's actually walking away. But that would have been a big one. And that's the second crash we see down at turn 12, because Vietti did exactly the same thing at the same part of the track where that tyre barrier. So I hope it is all okay down there. We don't need to stop the race for a repair of air vents, because it's the same air vent segments along. So we'll keep an eye on that. Lowe's just at the fastest middle sector time of anybody. 40.231, so he's really on it now, but he won't set the fastest fourth sector, sorry, because that's where the yellow flag is. Well, 110, yeah, so he's quicker. He's 2 tenths quicker than Acosta on this lap alone. Gap now 1.2 seconds. Lowe's is checking out at the front of this Grand Prix here. And Acosta fourth, Arbolino fifth, Canet in sixth position as well. As they come back through, battle for fifth. Arbolino versus Canet. Canet's going to go on the inside line in the braking zone. We've gone green, by the way. And Canet gets through, goes a little wide though at 13. And Arbolino slips back through. Thank you very much, he says. I'll take that position if not using it. Look at that now. Acosta and Arbolino, 2 points difference. They were level. Can Arbolino get ahead of Iagura in fourth position? That's the key question.
We'll look for another way through and do it a little bit cleaner next time around.
So Canet sits behind Arbolino in sixth. At the front again, Sam Lowe's at 141.5. Acosta at 41.9. The gap now at 1.4 seconds, just to keep you abreast of that situation. And in terms of the pace, Sam is, than this pack here, this group that we're watching, 6, 7 tenths quicker. That's incredible, isn't it?
His pace is relentless at the moment, so he is consistently lapping mid-41s every single time around. I spoke to his crew last night and they all seemed really confident. Everyone was in buoyant mood following that pole lap, but everyone was saying, you know what, he's got the race pace as well, and he's proven it today. So yeah, just keep knocking out those lap times whilst he's comfortable doing so, and eking out a 1.5 second gap over Pedro Acosta.
Canet trying a different strategy to get some drive up towards Angel Nieto corner. And then into Peluki out of turn 10. There is Alonso Lopez. Not seen much of a Lopez. I remember had quite an eventful start to the year. Was involved in a little bit of a collision early on in the opener when we were in Portugal. Then crashed out under his own steam in that first race. Got that long lap. It was irresponsible riding, wasn't it? Colliding with Bo Benschneider, if you remember that one. And then he took that second place, brilliant, in Argentina, having led for much of the race, and 7th last time, having been leading up the very, very early stages of the race.
Yeah, he's obviously, again, once this season outperforming teammate Fermin Aldeguer, but he is not quite there to the pace that we possibly expected after what he could do at the end of last season. Another return to the podium. Argentina, it was in wet weather conditions, so yeah, it could well be his first dry weather podium season, and set himself up for a bit of a push on. But he's yeah, comfortable at the moment, a gap in front and a gap behind, so he just will be trying to chip away at those lap times.
Jake Dixon's still in there with Salach. He's matching the laps of everyone around him, as is Albert Arenas. As I said, 4 crashes this weekend for Arenas. Somkiat Chantra trying to close the gap, but all very similar lap times from Agura all the way back to Chantra, really. That's why it's all a little bit steady.
Yeah, pretty much everyone in those that group is 42.2 to 42.4, so yeah, pretty similar lap times. The only ones still lapping in the 41s are Sam Lowe's and Pedro Acosta.
Yeah, and we've just seen that on the screen there as well. 141.3 for Lowe's, 141.4 for Acosta. That's their best lap times, but at this previous, they keep just increasing it. Here's Lowe's, though, 157 Grand Prix starts. Last win was Emilia Romagna back in 2021, as I mentioned to you earlier on as well. But Sam Lowe's has a total of 9 Moto2 victories in his career. His first one, of course, came in Qatar 2021. I've had the privilege of commentating on all of his race victories. We've got them all in the category, of course, because we started broadcasting this year, but I've been commentating on Moto3 and Moto2 since 2020. So we've got years worth of backlog that we can upload anytime there's like another delay in the season, or during the off season we can have classic Moto GP, classic Moto2s, that sort of thing coming up as soon as we get the timings set for that as well, which are coming, by the way. We're going to have classic races in the off season as well. Agura has been given a long lap penalty, so he is down, deeper than down as it comes up on the penalty, and he is in 12th position, so he's going to lose out on that time. 10 laps to go then. Oh, Agura's getting a little bit of mistake through turn 6, and Alberino's right there with him. The gap now is so close between them as they begin to fly through. Official track temperature now at 26 degrees, so it does keep changing. And just looking at it, Aguirre's exceeding track limits. That's why he's been given the long lap penalty. On the switchback then, into 9 and 10. Race coming up then on around about 20 minutes as they ride through. So half the race, well, more than half the race gone now. We've passed half distance. It should be a 40-minute race total, maybe 30, 35 max, 35, 30, 35, 40, depending on how slow Lowe's goes. It shouldn't be too long of a Moto2. It's quite a quick circuit, this. It's only 13 corners as well, 2.748 miles. As Van der Gorsberg's been given a track limits warning now on the monitor, so we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for that mess when it comes through. Oh, and Aguirre's gone down! Aguirre's crashed down in turn 1! Unbelievable, he was battling with Alberino. Alberino went through, and then all of a sudden Aguirre went down. Looked like the rear stepped out. Now, was there contact between him and Alberino? Love to see a proper replay, and it comes up immediately. So Alberino comes on the inside towards turn number 1. He turns in, surprises Aguirre, and Aguirre touches the rear wheel with his front wheel of Alberino. Wow, so 9 times out of 10, when it's front wheel to rear wheel contact, you are going down, and he has gone down on the deck hard, and Alberino is out of the Moto2 Spanish Grand Prix, and that now puts Acosta and Alberino level on World Championship points, and Acosta knows that. He must do it because he's just done a 40.248 in the middle sector, 3/10 faster than Sam Lowe's managed, and he's been 3/10 faster this entire lap. Acosta starting to chase down Sam Lowe's. 9 to go here. We've gone green again for the Spanish Grand Prix.
From Pedro.
Yeah, you never can relax with Pedro Acosta around. So Sam will keep a close eye on the pit board every lap around, knowing it is Pedro Acosta and knowing his ability to pull something out of the bag in the later lap. So he'll be trying to maintain the gap as he's responded here in Sector 3. So may have just been a little mistake in sectors 1 and 2 to give away those 2/10.
I think Alonso Lopez had a mistake on that previous lap. He did a 1:42.6. He's dropped by half a second, and it was Acosta upping the wick a little bit because he did a 1:41.7. Sam's maintained his pace actually, so I think Sam's just going to have to read that pit board, isn't he? Just keep a close eye on things and make sure that gap doesn't get any lower, because
Garcia track limits penalty warning.
Obviously give encouragement to Pedro Acosta, but two, just start playing with your mind a little bit.
Nothing worse than having a lead come back down, so you see it every lap, someone's chipping out 1 or 2/10 on you, so at that point then it's easy to push on, and yeah, you just need to try and keep calm.
Just gone back out to 1.9 through the second sector. We know Sam Lowe's, actually it's the third sector on the racetrack that he seems to have a little bit more, third and fourth actually, second half of the racetrack, his strong suit. Everyone moving up a spot. Jake Dixon's got past Philip Salach. We said that his pace would start to come, so it's Dixon up into the top 6 now. We have had a long lap penalty go out for Fermin Aldeguer, and that's for exceeding track limits. Is that the second one though? Because he already was given one about 3 minutes ago, so I'm confused whether that's 1 or 2 that he's got. Jake Dixon, there he is in 6th, past Salach. Let's have a look. Is this him getting past the Czech rider? Yeah. Hardest braking zone on the whole racetrack, and actually Salach gave him the room, didn't he?
Yeah, he forced it in there. Salach could see Jake in his peripheral. You have to give it up in those instances. If you try and lean in on top of the rider coming down the inside, you're both going to end up on the ground. So Salach giving best, and you can see Jake's already eked out a small gap on Philip Salach. So Jake doing what he does best, maintaining a strong pace as the tyres begin to drop and the fuel load goes down.
You can see top left of your screens, the gap back out to 2.1 seconds. So Pedro Acosta brought an ace out of his hand, and Sam Lowe's has matched it, hasn't he? Because he's just done a 1:41.7 with Acosta, a 41.2. Order resumed, back over 2 seconds.
Yeah, that just shows that Sam has got a little bit left to play with in the locker. So he was consistently knocking in the 41.5s, 41.6, then he slowed down for a couple of laps to 42.0. Seeing the gap on his pit board come down a 10th or 2, and he just immediately responds back to a 41.7 and ekes it back out to 2.1, so he's in control.
You've got to have some wherewithal about you though, to be able to be that judge your pace so well.
Yeah, it's a really difficult thing to do, because if you relax too much, then all of a sudden you need to respond. It's difficult to do. So Sam's obviously close to the limit, but he'll just maybe took a few sections of the racetrack with less risk, let's say, as Ayagura makes his way back down pit lane. Glad he's got away with that one with the injured wrist, and yeah, but he'll be frustrated to give away points. He needs every point he can get, because he'll be missed those early rounds.
This is the incident again. Look at Arbolino coming up the inside to Aguri. He appears actually quite late, doesn't he? And actually Arbolino's wide as well.
Seeing it again, because I was expecting a comeback and it happened at turn 2, but seeing it, he came from a long way back. He wasn't making the apex. Unfortunately, I probably prepared for the corner as Arbolino barreled down the inside. So yeah, the rider behind is usually at fault blame-wise if you could make contact, but it was such a late move from Arbolino. So racing incident, there shouldn't be any penalty applied, but it's slightly naughty from Arbolino.
Slightly naughty, and what we saw yesterday is they were hot on it, weren't they, with Frankie Morbidelli? Nobody here in this commentary booth, I'm not sure many people around the circuit thought that Frankie Morbidelli deserved the long lap penalty, but that's to come in the MotoGP race. 25 laps of the circuit there. We've got 21 on the schedule here, 5.5 to go. The gap between Lowe's and Acosta stands at 2.2.
Yeah, impressive response from Sam Lowe's to the little bit of a charge from Pedro Acosta. You know, Pedro will be thinking championship-wise, this second place will put him joint with Tony Arbolino at the top of the table, so he'll be happy enough with his day's work, but at the same time, he always likes to fight for victory if at all possible.
6 laps to go then. Look at that. Acosta and Arbolino will be level on World Championship points at the moment. Nothing has changed. 2.1 now, the gap between Lowe's and Acosta in the championship. So there's 0 difference between them, which is, to be fair, this is looking really good. Sam Lowe's actually, I think, going to move up into second in the championship now. Why is that just flicked up on the timing screen? That's different to what we were seeing as Fermin Ayagura passes Garcia, but I don't think Ayagura's taken his long lap penalty yet, has he? No, he hasn't. Fermin Ayagura, long lap penalty has been received. Rory Skinner and Sergio Garcia, by the way, have received a track limits warning. Agura has rejoined the race and then come into the pit lane. So, and long lap complete as well for Fermin Ayagura, I've been told over my radio. That's what we've seen. So they've now swapped over brilliantly positions. 5 to go here in the Spanish Grand Prix of Moto2, and it is a Brit domination affair for Sam Lowe's. Haven't had a British winner in this category since him in 2021, so pardon our French or British bias when he comes across the line, because we're going to be cheering for that as we see the 35 of Somkat Chantra coming through. Usually British people who celebrate Moto, like in Formula 1, will get, oh, you're Hamilton fans, you're Russell fans, all that lot. But when it comes to MotoGP, because this championship, this entire category, it's dominated by Spanish, Italian riders. And we, of course, as British fans, we had Barry Sheene come through, Carl Crutchlow won a couple. But it's very rare that we get a British winner in any moto category on the motorcycles. So when it happens, it's fantastic. It's in turn 6, rider involved, Chantra, diving up the inside of Philip Salak and forcing him out of the way. That is being looked at by the stewards, and I think it's going to have to be dropped, because that's nothing. That's just fair racing as well. But if Sam Lowe's wins, the first British win of the year, we will be very, very excited, because it's not that often we get a British winner in any moto category. And we've got Lowe's and we've got Dixon in the Moto2 category. Dixon's been close. Lowe's hasn't had one since 2021 at Misano. Is that about to change? Acosta 2.6 seconds behind with 4 to go. Alonso Lopez in 3rd position. Arbolino 4th. Canad in 5th. Dixon 6th. Arenas 7th. Chantra 8th. Salak 9th. Agura in 10th position as well. So they are running together, holding together. Nothing will come between them at the moment. It's just going to have to be very cool, calm, collected running for this Grand Prix at Jerez. I'm amazed that we're going to have a level championship playing field, to be fair, as well. That's something that's getting me. How brilliant is that going to be between the two? If Alberino can hold off from Aaron Canet, it's closing in behind him.
To get across to Aaron Canet, but 6th place will be a strong point scoring finish for Jake on the weekend, but it's not quite going to plan.
Yeah, Canet seems to have just lost touch now on Tony Arbolino ever so slightly. That gap, 1.6, very steady, isn't it? As Chantra now is through, and maybe that will be Jake Dixon's worry about Chantra and any chance he might have, because he's just a couple of tenths quicker than both Arenas and Dixon with 3.5 laps remaining.
Yeah, Chandra, another rider who's good in the heat, so obviously it's been a cooler race than we anticipated following qualifying yesterday, but in the latter laps of the race, the temperature in the tyres begins to heat up, everything begins to move a little bit more, and that's where some cat likes it, when the bike's sideways and sliding on corner entry and the front's pushing in the middle of the turn.
Be interesting for MotoGP because the sun has been out during this race, and it was 34 Dunlop gave the reading from the grid, so it will be around that mark very soon. I'd have thought by the time MotoGP is out there with the haze sort of breaking up from the sunshine, where it could be at the tipping point.
Yeah, it's been interesting because of the cloud cover today. Even though it's hot out there, the temperature on the surface hasn't been as high as what we've seen, especially yesterday in qualifying. So the anticipation is everyone's going to go for the medium rear tyre, but as the temperature stayed a little bit lower, someone may gamble in the soft.
Just explain to people who might not have been watching throughout the weekend what we mean by tipping point here at Jerez.
Which is a unique circuit in that it's really quite abrasive. The asphalt, although I think it was laid in 2012 or 2013, so it's been down a little while. It is grippy, but it's when the temperature climbs up into the mid-40s, all of a sudden the track just becomes not an ice rink, but really greasy. Everything's on the move, floating in the way into the corner, the front's pushing. As soon as you crack the throttle, it's quite greasy and it squirms and spins off the turns. And you've got a lot of long hanging corners such as this where you're on the side of the tyre. The surface temperature of the shoulder of the tyre builds up, and it's just so easy to wheel spin. If you're coming for a play, like rear wheel steering around here is so fun to do. And yeah, in a race scenario you don't like the greasy conditions because it's easy to get caught out, but yeah, it's a great racetrack just for having some fun around on a track day.
Really is one of those circuits that everybody loves to be at and loves to play around with. Arbolino being closed in a little bit by Aaron Canet as well. They're going to be running it together now as well to the end of this race as they break down. 2 to go. Sam Lowes leads this race by 2.899 seconds. It's an amazing achievement if he can win for the first time since Emilia-Romagna in 2021. That's so long ago as they try and go on the push through. Arbolino 3 tenths between them at the moment, and Canet closing in. And Acosta having the advantage, finding the right pace, finding the grip he needs to have. So we've had an interesting race. Let's run through it for you. On the warm-up lap as well, Dylan Kelly didn't get it going, so he had to start for the pit lane. Then he crashed out later on as well. Justina Vietti went down, Aigura went down, and all went back to the pit lane as well. Acosta and Arbolino will be level on 74 World Championship points. And as usual, Moto3 has been the best race so far. Moto2 has been a bit of a slow burner, but that's what we get from this category at the moment. But certainly MotoGP, which is up next in an hour's time, could be absolutely spectacular. So it's fingers crossed there if that is going to be the manner in which we have to play this. The last lap of this Spanish Grand Prix is coming up, with Sam Lowes leading by 2.8 seconds as well. Acosta second. 6.9 seconds later, we'll see Alonso Lopez. Final lap, the call. Lowes leading. 3 seconds almost ahead. 2.9 across the line. This is a domination effect. The coronation next weekend, of course, in the UK of King Charles III. What a great present it's going to be for a British winner in a World Championship in Moto2, especially coming from Sam Lowes, a local lad. Lincoln bound, the same as his brother Alex. About 50 minutes up the road from where I'm commentating this race from, actually. As the action continues on. The Lincoln lad's done good today. on course for yet another win. The perfect 10 in a Moto2 career. Is a little bit wiggly coming to turn 6 there, Sam. Be careful. Don't lose it now. 2.8 back. Acosta in second. Smiling up in the commentary box. This is going to be fantastic. After a terrible start to the season for the Elfmark VDS racing team, it's going to be now 2.7 seconds. 3 corners left. 10, 11, 12. And then the hairpin 13. They're in it now. 3 now. The last sector. The British fans who have made their way here, and there are a lot of them, we've seen the build-up, are going to be on their feet for the first time in 2023. We are going to have a British winner in the MotoGP categories. It'll come from the 22 of Sam Lowes from Lincoln, out of the last corner for the first time in 2 years. He's done it. Sam Lowes wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Pedro Acosta is second. Alonso Lopez third. Tony Albarino fourth. Aaron Canet completes the top 5. Jake Dixon is in 6th position as well. Chantra 7th. Arenas 8th. Salak 9th. Agura completes the top 10. A nod of the head from Sam Lowes. A punch of the year. Elfmark VDS get a great result. And their man, Tony Albarino in 4th, is now joint lead of the World Championship with Pedro Acosta in 2nd. They are both on 74 points. But Britain's Sam Lowes from Lincoln enjoys the action as winner of the Moto2 Spanish Grand Prix. Get in there! So Sam Lowes wins from Pedro Acosta 2nd, Lopez 3rd, then Albarino, Canet, Dixon, Chantra, Arenas and Salak complete the top 9. Further down, we see Ayagura ahead of Garcia, Gonzalez, Boltus, Roberts and Tuvelot completing the point-paying positions, and Alcoba and Ben Schneider. Then we get Foggia, Gomez, Ramirez, Aguirre, Guevara down, Van der Korsberg, Skinner 23rd, Della Porta in 25th, and then 26th for Miniminto. Out was Aguirre, Dylan Kelly and Vietti. In the rider standings, Pedro Acosta leads with Tony Albarino. They are both on 74 points. Aaron Canet is 22 back from Lopez. Sam Lowes down to 5th. Salek 6th. Dixon 7th. Chantra 8th. Arenas 9th. Then we get Gonzalez, Agura, Acoba, Garcia, Ben Schneider, Vietti all dropping places. Binder not scoring any points. Boltus in 17th place. And further down as well, we get Roberts, Foggia, Agura and Tuvelok with the last points-paying positions. A personal moment, but yes! Sam Lowes, brilliant for Great Britain as well. We very rarely get a British winner in the classes of MotoGP. It's brilliant to see Sam taking it. 2 weeks' time then until we are back in action for the French Grand Prix as well at the Bugatti circuit at Le Mans. Until then, take care. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.